Now, from the University of Okoboji, it's Okoboji Broadcast with Jeff Thee.
Welcome to Okoboji Broadcast, everybody. It is a sunny, sometimes cloudy Wednesday here in the office.
And it's getting darker, so we know what could happen.
Oh, what? Please tell me what.
Oh, gee, I wonder.
Ain't gonna happen.
No.
We're here at the Dickinson County Museum, and Mary Dreyer's here with us. She is the director, and she brought a young friend that's been doing a lot of work here, Mary.
Yeah, I wanted to introduce my good friend Seth Hanby, who started volunteering here just kind of after the first of the year. And I think it was in March. We needed some extra help here, so we talked to the board, and I told him what a terrific job he's doing and how he'd be a great asset here. So he's here at least temporarily until the end of July. And so we're just so pleased to have him here. He has been making some really positive moves here at the museum and creating things that I could only dream of. He's got the skills, especially with the exhibits, to really pull things off and make them nice.
Well, you know, and you're so lucky with you have dreams of other things that this museum could be, and here's Seth to help with that. And Seth, first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself. My family's from this area. They've been in here for 100 plus years.
Aha!
We have 2 century farms.
So is this hence your interest in history of the area then?
History, I just love history in general. I have a bachelor's degree in history from the University of British Columbia.
Oh wow, okay.
And so I finished college and I wanted to come back here and spend time with my family, and this museum opportunity opened up for me, and I wanted to take advantage of it.
And we're so glad you did.
Yeah. I do love being here. I love learning about the history of the area because I didn't grow up here. So it's definitely exciting for me to really see it from a newcomer's perspective.
Yeah.
And I think that I have that advantage in order to, set up new exhibits to showcase stuff that maybe people missed or they just, haven't seen before, or, highlight things that are important to this area that should be showcased and spoken about more, their story told. And I really love doing that.
Well, cool. And tell us a little bit, you've worked on this section we're standing in right now, haven't you, Seth? And tell us a little bit about what your vision was and what we're doing here.
So this is the L.F. Williams photography studio. He was a big photographer here in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Okay. And my idea here is a lot of times folks like to see old pictures of the area. I know, especially my dad. He's come in here and he's like, "Wow, I love looking at these photos." So that got me thinking: how do we showcase photos of the area, and how do we showcase who L.F. Williams was? He was huge in this area,
right?
And all these photos are stuff that he's taken photos of personally. Personally, this one behind me, it's one of my favorites. It shows the area, how important boating was. The lakes are to this area.
Well, you see our steamboats, 3 different ones there, and of course sailboat, and that's how the Okobojis were navigated.
Exactly.
And this is a great spot for folks who come to visit the museum to stand up here and take a selfie of themselves at the lakes the way it was, say, 1900 or so.
See, this is what I like, bringing people go into museums and they like to see change up, and they like to be part of it, and having areas where they can take a selfie and have these images. I mean, you can look at it and go, that's Okoboji, but it was Okoboji a long time ago, and hence the intrigue, I would say.
Right, and plus, hey, I've been to this spot. It's the beach at Arnold's Park amusement park, and folks can see, hey, that's Des Moines Beach across the way there, and see, hey, this is what it was then, and this is what it is now, and it's still cool. It's still a special place, and
still with cool. Thousands of visitors every summer.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
and it was just a different experience than what we enjoy.
Right. It was different, Jeff, but it was also the same.
Yes, exactly.
The lakes are the same.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's the fun part, right?
Yes,
there.
yes.
Now, Seth, across the way, directly across from us, you got another exhibit you're working on, and what is that exactly?
So we are working on our first ever temporary exhibit. So the temporary exhibit idea is going to be here for a limited amount of time, and it's going to be rotating
every month or two.
Every month or two. And our first temporary exhibit is going to be summer sports on the lakes. So we're going to do golfing, we got baseball, fishing, swimming,
and the water slide.
And the water slide. We can't forget the water slide. So we're going to be showcasing old bathing suits, the ones that made out of wool that you don't want to swim in anymore.
The epitome of discomfort, I would say.
Yes, I would agree. We have a lot of golf courses around here as well. The Brooks one is probably maybe one of the oldest ones, I believe, in the area. And so we're going to be showcasing a bit about that as well.
And also the West Okoboji Golf and Country Club, which doesn't exist anymore and hasn't for some time.
Well, in Indian Hills, when it was Henshaw Heights, had sand greens.
Yes.
My dad used to play on those.
We do have some photos of those areas, and I'm excited to showcase them.
Yeah, exactly. And what's fun about having temporary exhibits, people come into a museum, and if it's the same thing as they saw the last time, they're, oh, okay, I've seen it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
There's going to be new information, new history coming around every so often. That's fun.
That's the point,
Yeah, something that we didn't show is that we have something new for this museum, which is really cool. We have a digital frame that allows us to rotate photos through old photos here in the L.F. Williams exhibit. And I've watched folks just stand here, just mesmerized by the photos that come across them.
Yeah.
It's really, really fun. And we haven't mentioned also that we have a lot of QR codes. Mm-hmm. So folks can come here and with their cell phone take a picture of the QR code and then get further information or a video clip or who knows what else about some of the items in an exhibit or about the story.
They can visit the Dickinson County Museum from the comfort of their own lounge chair, their own boat, whatever it is. Yes.
Yep, exactly. Absolutely. And Seth has done just an amazing job with our Abby Gardner exhibit. Do you want to talk about that just for a minute?
Sure. So again, I didn't grow up here, so I didn't even know who Abby Gardner was.
Sure.
And I really wanted to make her a person again.
Yeah.
Showcase she was a businesswoman, in the 1800s, which was really unheard of at the time.
For women, that was spectacular.
Yes.
That was unheard of, yes.
And not just was she a businesswoman, she was a very successful businesswoman.
So we have taken Abby and her family, and she had a family after this horrific tragedy that happened to her. We have her will on display to show, hey, she actually had money, and she would have been worth nowadays about $1 million.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of money for that time period. It was about $75,000 in that time. So again, just showcasing who she was, what her life was like, what happened after her death, because her son continued on giving talks about what had happened to her.
Right.
And we have the peace pipe on display, which I think is probably one of our most important pieces in that exhibit, because it showcases, she, regardless of what had happened to her, she made peace with it. She forgave them.
Yes.
And that is a very important aspect of that story.
This is a real person, not just a black and white photo you can look at and read a couple paragraphs on. This is a real person, an important person in the history of this area, and you can see the things she had, touch the things she touched. And,
right.
So that's
and hear the stories. I think that is a really significant change and a really significant way that we are kind of in the forefront of the museum world here, is that we're very carefully curating the items that we have on exhibit so that we can focus on the stories. And the items that we have in the exhibits that Seth and I have chosen are the most important, have the most storytelling potential with them. So you don't have to kind of look through a bunch of clutter to see the important things like the peace pipe.
Yeah, exactly.
They're front and center.
All right. Well, wonderful. Well, Seth, thank you for all the great work you're doing, and I can't wait to see as it continues. Mary, before we go, going out to the cemetery walk this past Sunday was postponed, but you're doing it.
It was postponed because of?
Was it the weather?
Yes, it was the weather. It was a good call because it did storm, and so it is postponed until this Sunday afternoon. The Okoboji Cemetery Walk in Arnold's Park,
Right.
at the cemetery at Arnold's Park, starts at 4 o'clock, and we're running 2 times for tours, at 4 o'clock and at 5 o'clock. And we've had so much interest in this, I can hardly wait for it.
It's very good. Even more intense interest now that you had to postpone 1 week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All
Exactly.
right. Very, very good. So, and of course, Wayback Wednesday's
Way
continuing.
back Wednesday. Yeah.
Very
yeah.
good. Awesome.
Very
All
fun.
right. Seth and Mary, thank you so much, and thank you for all you do to increase the interest in our wonderful history of Dickinson County.
Thank you, Jeff. You're a big part of it.
Well, thank you. It's fun for me.
Me too.
Break a sweat doing this, let me tell you. All right, we want to thank Seth and Mary for their time as always. We thank you for watching us right here on Okoboji Broadcast. Okoboji Broadcast from the studios at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park is brought to you in part by West Wealth Management, a financial advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services. Advisor Jan Spielman, AJ Spielman, and Erica Wachholz. The headquarters of the University of Okoboji is at the Three Sons, open Monday through Saturday 10 to 5 and Sunday from 10 to 4. Bank Midwest, dream big, plan wisely, live well. Lakes Regional Healthcare and Avera Partner. Beck Engineering in Spirit Lake. Be Radiant Laser Skin Studio in the Okoboji Plaza in Okoboji.